I got to check up on Zuckerberg. He says it's going live, but I don't trust him. You know, Zuckerberg is German and it means sugar mountain, which is, what is that? Cocaine? Sugar mountain?
I don't know.
Can't trust anybody with the name Sugar Mountain.
Really? I kind of like that last name, Sugar Mountain. Better than Zuckerberg.
I like the English version of Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg sounds like something like I'm gonna stick you with the bill. I'm gonna Zuckerberg you. Anyway, so Facebook, welcome. Come on in and have a seat. This crazy little old Army veteran, me, Linda Marcus Smith, developed Comic Spot so that y'all can get to know comics behind their masks and off stage where it's safe. So we're doing that. You can't know who to go support if you don't get to know them. So let's get to know them. We have somebody here from New York today. I met him. I know I've seen him on stage at Comic Strip Live in the Gladys Simon Room. And his name today and always is Joey Rinaldi. Give it up for Joey Rinaldi, you guys.
Hey, thank you for that warm intro. It's so nice to see you again.
It's so nice to see you too, Joey. I'm going to read your intro that you sent me, and I quote, lest I be
there's probably typos since I wrote it.
Okay, cool. I'll just skip past typos. Your intro says, Joey Rinaldi, he's talking about himself in the third person, you guys. Joey Rinaldi is New York-based stand-up comedian who is known, and this interests me, he's known for his long-form stories. You've got to hear about this. He has 2 one-man shows, not one, 2 one-man shows that have been featured off-Broadway and in fringe festivals around America and the world. Guys, are we ever so dope today having him on? Joey's new hit movie trailer reviewing podcast, Trailer Trashing. It's called Trashing, I believe.
Yeah, trailer trashing, yeah.
Trailer Trashing, that's even better. I love that. Trailer Trashing is available everywhere you can listen to podcasts. During the pandemic, you can watch Joey Rinaldi share his comedic stories every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is takeaway 3 for the West Coast every single time. It's 5 Pacific. Thursdays, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern on the Comedy Hub channel.
Twitch channel.
The Twitch channel under Comedy Hub.
Yes.
I know zero about Twitch. When I was growing up, if my dad yelled at me, I would develop a Twitch.
Yep, exactly. It's the same word. And yeah, every Thursday night I'm on Twitch at 8 p.m. or 5 p.m. for you guys, telling stories. There's a new theme each week. So this theme, for instance, is we got cringy middle school and high school stories. The next week we're doing family stories. The week after that it's college stories. Just any stories you can have stories about, I do on Twitch.
Wow. So when did you start out in let me go back. When were you first funny and first got on stage?
First funny or first on stage?
Both. So like when did you or anybody notice your funny bone? And when did you first go on stage to do anything funny?
Oh God. I don't know. I feel like I've been funny, like been being told I was funny since I was a little kid. I remember even in preschool, I would just be like, I would have like circles of kids around me just making laugh all the time. And it's so like at a young age in preschool, I was like, oh, I'm like the funny guy here. It was the stupidest stuff. I was actually a prop comic back in preschool because I would just take all the toys and make jokes about all the toys we had. And that would kill every day at school. Every day at preschool, I would do amazing. Yeah, I didn't really get the courage to start doing stand-up for real till I was 20 years old, going to NYU. And before then, I would actually tried a few times to do comedy when I was like 19 and 18, but it wasn't really comedy. I'd get like blackout drunk, go on a stage at some open mic, and make a fool out of myself. So yeah, I didn't really start doing stand-up till I was 20 at NYU.
Oh, that's so cool. So what made you go from stand-up to storytelling? Did you
Well,
get?
it's not like I went from stand up to storytelling. It's that the more I started doing stand up, the more my stand up routine became less quick jokes and longer personal stories. But it is still stand up.
Yes, absolutely. It's just a different form of stand up. It's
Yeah,
not.
like I can't do a one liner. I don't know how to write a one liner. I try writing one liners. I just and even the one liners I do write, I don't know how to deliver them. It's just not natural for me. I'm a very talkative person.
I'm the same way, but I have not gotten any training, and I feel I need training to be a better storyteller. So I'm kind of in between telling short jokes and telling stories. I vacillate. I have a couple jokes, and then I have a story, and then I tell jokes inside of us. And I need training on how to really tell stories. Did you get training, or just it was just natural for you?
So it's funny you asked that because the stories is what became natural to me. The when I first started doing stand up, the jokes weren't really there for me, and I would write. I still write jokes all the time. Like I still do tons of stand up sets with no stories, just jokes. But when I first started doing stand up, and whenever I told a stand up set that had a story in it, it was just so obviously better than all the jokes I was writing. And
Wow.
so I guess I innately have storytelling in me for some reason.
What's your favorite story to tell? What's it
Oh my
about?
god, I don't know if I have a favorite. I have a lot of I love them all, but like I guess the one I like telling the most is a story about the time that my doorman in my apartment building invited me to do comedy at this party that I found out while I was there was a party for drug dealers. And I didn't realize it until I showed up, and they all had like face tattoos and all these like big bags of like all different types of drugs. And it's a fun story to tell because anyone who's seen me do comedy knows that's not really my type of audience. Like I'm not like a cool hip comic who can fit in a scene like that. I tell very like family friendly like lame personal stories about how like I don't know like about like I'm like the Full House of comedy.
I get that.
Yeah, like if so, being at this like hip underground drug dealing party where they literally had like strippers there. They were so confused by me doing comedy. They're like, what? This is not like they wanted like someone like Cat Williams. That's like the type of comedy they wanted, and I was giving them like Pee Wee Herman. They
Oh,
just
that's so funny. Oh my gosh. So, in comedy clubs, not when you've been at a private event or anything, but at comedy clubs, what's the craziest, stupidest, weirdest, scariest, hardest thing you've ever seen at a club that you thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is about to happen? Like,
oh
not,
my god,
aren't there's great stories out there.
tons of stuff come to mind. The first, I'm just gonna say the first thing that popped in my head is I used to do these midnight shows at Broadway Comedy Club, and Broadway Comedy Club. If you don't know what it is, it's this it's comedy club smack that in like Times Square, and they get most of their audience by getting tourists who don't know what to do, being like, "Oh my God, come here! If you don't have plans, come to this comedy club. It's in Times Square. Come." And
Yes.
so it's not like comedy fans that come to this comedy club. It's not like people who've set out to do comedy. It's like drunk ass people who are like in town from Florida and like, oh, I don't know anything about New York, so I'll go here. And
Yes.
so you're performing to a different audience every night there. And
Yes.
I was doing a midnight show, and there was a group of like 15 kids from New Orleans who are like in the college age, and they're drinking Long Island iced teas and shots all night. And they just don't know where they are. They don't understand what a comedy club is. So they're just yelling over comedians. They're being aggressive. They're being rude. And I get on stage. I kind of make fun of them a little bit. They didn't like that at all. And then a friend of mine gets on stage after me and says to them, um, I'm so sad that Hurricane Katrina didn't kill you guys. He said something along those lines. Next thing I knew, these 15 guys are now throwing bottles at my friend. I try like defending him. Now we're outside the comedy club. They're trying to punch us and kick us, and so they walk away, and it seemed as if they were gone. So we were waiting inside. We locked the manager had to lock the doors. You have to like wait it out. And then when it seemed like they were gone, me and my friend went to leave the comedy club. And as we left, they were waiting for us at the corner. So as we turned the corner, this big guy, and he has an Asian girlfriend with him, which is he has this tiny little Asian girlfriend, and this big 6'5" guy comes running to me, and his Asian girlfriend comes running to me, and he goes to punch me in the face. But he's drunk. I didn't realize this. If you're sober and someone's drunk, it's actually easy to defend them because they don't really have the coordination in there. So he's drunkenly trying to punch me. I duck, and as I duck, he punches his Asian girlfriend in the face, and she's like 5 foot nothing. So I see her teeth and blood come pouring out of her mouth. And this is when it gets really crazy because a cop shows up, and the little Asian girl tries telling the cop, that guy pointing to me, he punched me, and my teeth and my blood is on the floor, and this comedian attacked me. And this is the most emasculating thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh
The
my
cop
gosh.
looks at the bruise she has on her face. He picks up my hand. She picks up her boyfriend's hand and goes, this guy has never threw a punch a day in his life. He has like feminine hands. This guy has strong hands. Like, if he punched you, this wouldn't have happened. So he's literally making fun of me to my face, which didn't feel nice. But I was like, you know what? He's right. I couldn't have. If I punched, nothing would have happened. I do have feminine hands. I don't know how to throw a punch.
Joey Feminine Hands Rinaldi.
That's what they call me at the precinct.
So, what part of New York did you grow up in?
So I'm from Connecticut. That's where, if you see my room where I'm doing this interview, it's like a little kid's room. I'm in Greenwich, Connecticut. That's where I grew up. I'm here during quarantine right now because New York is kind of crazy right now.
Yes, I'm glad you're
And
safely there.
yeah, and I grew up here with my mom and dad and my 4 crazy Italian siblings.
Whoa, where are you in the pecking order?
I am the youngest boy and the fourth youngest. So I only have one younger sibling. And I think that's kind of where my comedy came from because when you have 3 older siblings, no one wants to listen to you talk. So
Sure.
you have to be funny or do something. You have to do something to make them listen to you. And so I guess being funny is how I got their attention.
Absolutely. I'm in the same pecking order, second to last. Nobody, the only
How many
way I
siblings
got
do you have?
attention. I have an older sister and a twin brother who's younger than me.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah. So not as many siblings, but I'm second to last. Now, was your room decorated like that when you were a child?
It's been decorated like this since I was like 8 or 9, and I haven't changed it since because I'm lazy and I don't know. Like I
It's
don't
very,
love the.
very organized for a boy, 8 or 9
Is
years
it?
old.
It's
Yeah.
that's because you can't see the floor. There's clothes everywhere.
That's good. Is somebody giving me the middle finger or on that bedpost? A
No,
smirk?
no, that's a Nick's foam finger.
Okay, that's good. So where does your comedy take you next,
What
Joey?
was that?
Where do you think your comedy will take you next in your career?
I have no idea because I don't know what the future of comedy is. Like I have before the pandemic, I had an idea or two. Like before the pandemic, I was actually going to go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and perform my one-man show potty training there all summer. But that I was supposed to be there like right now I was supposed to be there, but that
Sorry.
whole thing got canceled. So I have no clue. Uh, I'm looking at so many different options now. I may invest in video game cameras and become a Twitch guy. I have no idea.
Exactly. Oh, congratulations on being selected for the Fringe Festival.
Oh, thank you.
My gosh. Would that have been your first time
Doing what?
going to the Fringe Festival?
Going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Yeah, I've done.
Edinburgh Fringe Festival, my bad.
Yeah, I've done other like fringes and stuff, but that'd be
Wow.
the biggest thing to my career probably.
Absolutely. That's in Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Wow. My gosh. That's so cool. I'm so sorry about the shutdown. putting the kibosh on that.
Yeah, so I guess the only thing for my future really is just going fully in on my new podcast called Trailer Trashing. It's a movie trailer review podcast where we watch movie trailers and we make fun of the movie trailers, and it's just a lot of fun because uh movie trailers are so ridiculous, especially the ones we choose. And so we just have me and my two co-hosts, Derek Blythe and Charlie Weinschenk. We just have so much to talk about every week watching these trailers, and it's a lot of fun. And
I want to watch. Who doesn't want to watch that? Trailer trashing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I until comedy clubs fully open up, I'm just on doing my podcast and doing my Twitch story shows every Thursday. So I don't really. That's all I know for the foreseeable future.
Wonderful. So, what do you think on a personal level, you being a family man with your parents around during the pandemic, how has the pandemic made your relationship with anybody else in the world better?
I don't know. I'm pretty close with all my friends and family already. The only difference is I get to see my family more. It hasn't really changed my relationship with my parents or anything. It's just nice to see them more, and not nice on some days.
Yes, absolutely. Well, is there any special shout outs you want to give to people who have helped you along your career path? Because you got a lot of successes, Joey, and you're still young.
Oh wow, I didn't expect that I'd be shouting anybody out right now.
No problem.
There's tons of people I could shout out. The only people I want to shout out right now is my mom and dad for letting me stay in their house over this pandemic and letting me eat all their food and just be a bum basically. I'm turning 25 tomorrow, and I remember being a little kid being like, I never want to be 25, stuck living with my parents. And now that I'm in a pandemic, I'm actually so grateful to be 25 living with my parents.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's been time. My parents passed in 2002 and 2007. And there's been times when I've wanted to crawl back up my mother's, whatchamacallit, and hide.
Womb?
With a, yeah, womb.
It's funny you said that. Speaking of pregnancies, the last episode of my podcast, we just did pregnancy movies, and we watched movie trailers of pregnancy movies. And the craziest one was the Arnold Schwarzenegger one where he gets pregnant.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Is your podcast available on YouTube?
YouTube, Spotify, the podcast app, other Google podcasts. I don't know what other, Stitcher maybe, whatever.
And it's called Trailer Trashing Everywhere.
No, it's just called Trailer Trashing.
That's what I meant. I meant everywhere, all places.
Yeah. Everywhere it's called Trailer Trashing. Yeah.
I gotta watch it. I'm gonna go subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Do it up, subscribe, like, send a comment, write me a personal message. I respond.
Yes. And one last little thing, and don't shy away from it if it's a need. Sometimes people get on here and watch and they're like fall in love with you, and they might want to donate to a Cash App or Venmo.
So I'm the Joey Rinaldi on everything. Joey Rinaldi. That's me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Venmo, anything else that you can possibly find me at. Type that in, the Joey Rinaldi. It would be Joey Rinaldi, but that guy, I message him every day. I'm like, can you please let me have that username? And he's always like, he doesn't respond.
What a dick.
Yeah, he doesn't respond. So until he lets me change my name to Joey Rinaldi, for the time being, I'm just the Joey Rinaldi.
Wonderful. Well, you've been a delight to have on. Now you're a graduate of the comic spot. And so what that means is that you're on the same level as Sinbad.
Oh, wow. That's an honor. Sinbad's awesome.
Isn't he great? He put up with me for 42 minutes. He told me
What?
I could have 2 minutes, and he stayed 42. That's better than most of my relationships.
Yeah, me too. Especially over quarantine, I would kill for a 42-minute relationship.
Oh my gosh. So every month, you get to start over again. It's like rolling over. You get to start with 5 to 7 minutes where you can come on and do jokes, plug what you're working on, plug what somebody else is working on, whatever. You can come back every month for 5 or 7 minutes.
Oh wow. I'll try to be funnier next time.
Me too. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Joey Rinaldi. I love you a lot. Thank you
Oh, I
so
love you
much.
too. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Bye.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.